Sometimes you have to look to other religions to explicate the esoterics of Judaism. One of the things, say, is like the name Lilith. Lilith is talked about in the Midrash as the first wife of Adam. Now this concept of the first wife of Adam, it's never brought up in the Bible, you see. So this whole idea of Lilith and what she represents, kind of like the side of demons and evil, is not brought up. So how do we enter into it if it's not brought up? You see? Or why isn't it brought up? And so one of the things is that Lilith is Gematria 480. Gematria 480 represents the Sitra Akra. So again, in Judaism, in normative Judaism, this Sitra Akra is not entered into. We kind of avoid it. And in avoiding it, we're kind of losing, we're losing like much of our potentiality, because the dark side of the coin is a very appropriate and necessary function to the coin. It's not only light, but it's also dark. It's not only or, it's also hoshek. And if one doesn't recognize that, then one's only going to live half. And they don't realize their full potential in this world. So where is some of this aspect of darkness located? The whole idea of darkness, kind of like dakinis in Buddhism, but I'm only into that today because of the whole idea of the tantric Buddhism. And then I was thinking about living in the cremation grounds. What does that actually mean, that the tantric sleeps in the cremation grounds? It has to do with death and the whole concept of the recognition of death and living amongst death, and the whole idea of cremation grounds. Even in a deep sense, the Holocaust that I was reading about today, and about what they did to the bodies after they killed them. They put them in crematoriums. And are these not cremation grounds? And the kind of like, not acceptance, but the kind of like understanding of what all this actually means as a fulfillment to the Jewish promise and its concept behind it. The whole idea, again, is what I've been doing in a video. I don't know if I put it on yet. The whole idea of the makur, the source. What is this source? You know, at its highest level of the essence of Ein Sof. The word essence means atzmut. Atzmut's essence. Atzmut means essence. And what is this atzmut? It's an eitz, that's a tree. Mavet. Atzmut is the tree of death. Death. How could death be at the essence? How could the tree of death be at the essence? And you know, when we're talking about reach and grasp of the tree of life and live forever, how could the Atzmut's level be the tree of death? It's mind-boggling. Now this tree of death at the absolute level is brought down in the lower levels as a tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you see. And surprisingly enough, in certain very high esoteric levels of interpretation, this tree of Da'as, they bring it down in Ibitza Hasidism, that it's of good and evil. It's the tree of Tov and Ra. You may not eat. In other words, there's no evil in the tree of Das. You see, and that's one of the ways to open up to the tree of death. Another is to what you would call sleep in the cremation grounds, which is not much different than walking planet Earth. Anyway, another word that I function in here is the word emet. How could the word emet, which is the highest level, there's nothing higher than emet, truth. In fact, even in the halakha, there's a level that's above what halakha is emes. If it's emes, if you're always living in emes, and what's emes? Emes is the aleph, which is man, and mem tov, death. The aleph has to be dead. The ego of the man has to be dead. When that occurs, then it's MS. Because if you're not protecting anything, then you're going to be telling the truth. The only thing that you really protect by lying is an imagined ego. See? So, I just thought of something while I'm doing this. Woo! The word emet. Oh, this is beautiful for me while I do this. Because remember, all these things are just for me. You see. So I have a record. I don't like to write. I like to speak. This is oral Torah for me. This is my stick. Take the word MS, Aleph, and then Mem, Tov. So I'm going to change the Aleph into a Yud K, into a Yud Vav Yud, which is 26, and that's one of the ways you spell Aleph. The Yud above, the Yud below, and the Vav in between. In this level, so that's Aleph. Remember, everything comes out of this Aleph. And everything comes out of the Aleph of MS. And so, if the Aleph is spelt Yud, Vav, Yud, that's 26, then I take the Met, is Mem is 40, that's 26, that's 66, and Tov is 400, that's 466. 466 is the word mezuzot. There's a level of MS every time you touch the mezuzot. And in mezuzot in general, and quite frankly, I've been working with mezuzot, and so that's one of the reasons this may have just come to me. The other thing is that the whole thing is coming to me because of my talking about from the levels of death in the cremation grounds, That's a funny mistake there. Creation grounds. Cremation grounds. Creation grounds. Cremation grounds. And the level of so Tav is 400, it's 466, that's mezuzot. It's also my brother's name, Shimon. And so from these kind of things, a speech like this you've never heard before, it's all coming from my brother's neshama, or higher. Or higher is my mother's name. So, and again, another mistake, another Freudian slip, which I'll talk about in another level. My neshama, or higher. See, because the neshama, my mother's name was Haya, and that's what his neshama are linked to. Neshama Haya. It's coming from him. This level of MS. The level that I must be on. How could I not want to be on the level of MS? In this opportunity I have, still walking planet Earth. And this is where it's such an opportunity to growth. And for that you have to enter into the death level. You have to be, I am dead. Very often now in the past few weeks, people have been talking about Anthony Bourdain, why he committed suicide. And they said he had everything. He had everything. Everything of those other people. Obviously he had nothing. That's why he died. And one has to learn how to, as they say in the Psalms, walk through the shadow of death. You see, walking through the shadow of death, walking with death, hand in hand. And this is a deep level of blessing. And when one recognizes this, another thing that's happened recently that I'll say a few words about, say the fires that have occurred in California. What does this destruction mean? What does it bring? Again, these destructions, this crematorium that we have there. People, even people that I know of, lost everything. An artist lost all her paintings. Whoa. There are no paintings. There's no representation. It was taken away so we can all understand and know. But are we understanding and knowing? Or are we just saying, oh, what a shame. Oh, what a shame. So let us understand what's going on with all this. This is just an entry. And another time I'll talk about the level of oneness at the highest level, at the sixth level, the Atzmuts level, where this self-shahashuot, this self-pleasuring at the highest level is an expression of like deep, high levels. We'll talk about this another time. In the meantime, today's emet of Yud Vav Yud and Mem, Yud Vav Yud is the Aleph, and Mem and Vav, and Mem and Tav, giving 466, and the level of MS is reached by the level of mezuzot and by my brother Shimon.